Hear ye, hear ye, what is up? Welcome to the Week 6 review, the Week 7 preview, and you goddamn right I put 250 on Cam's head. But we'll get into that for a bit. So, the worst team, surprisingly, was Adams this week, and I was the best team because Drake London was the best wide receiver of the week. Hell yeah, brother. I obliterated Cam. It was not close. I literally dropped a 250 bomb. And I didn't even get the max amount of points that I could have, apparently. I guess Olave outscored... Oh, I think Olave might have outscored Amon. I don't know. Anyways, we're gonna go check out the standings where your king... me, is still the number 1 seed. Dials getting another win, jumping all the way up to the 2 seed. Minus sticking right at the 3 seed, though he did take another loss this week. 4 seed Adams, after getting his ass handed to him, dropping to 4-2. At 5, you still got Keyline, you still got Kawhi. At 6, you got Jay. At 7, Magnolia. Burrow has made his way into the playoff picture. Cam has fallen to 9. 10, well, 10 isn't ATS anymore. We'll get to that when we get to the ATS matchup, but it's not ATS anymore. 11 is Montez, and Braden at 1-5 sits alone as the Toilet Bowl King. Well, we don't know that because they're going to have a bracket, but still. Now, a few trades did end up going down that are pretty important to the league, so we'll get to that after I review last week. So as you can see, I think the only person who legitimately disappointed on my team was Amon-Ra St. Brown. And yeah, it was Olave being outscoring Amon-Ra for shockingly. But yeah, it didn't end up mattering because I still put 250 on a man's head. So, go over here, you see Keyline upsetting minus in a legitimate stunner. Justin Fields played like shit. Gibbs disappointed. Devontae Adams disappointed. Roma Dunze disappointed. Rough week for both teams, realistically, but minus would come out with the L. Jay was able to knock off Adams, even though his team low-key played like shit too. Dylan Gabriel did not look good. Quinshawn Judkins was just straight up not used. Diggs was not used. Also, he had a really big pass called back. His tight end, Hassan Haskins, was RB2 this week to come on even at all. Overall, somehow, even with this terrible shit, Stafford, Breece Hall, Puka, Juwan Jennings, and Keenan Allen, and Kareem Hunt all played like shit for Adams. Then we see Team Dials absolutely blowing the back out of Braden this week. Go down, you see Jamar and Jalen Waddle having themselves a week. Just overall a very solid week. Patrick Mahomes going for almost 40. Magnolia would get a win off of no longer ATS, but Rel. Rel is our replacement for ATS because ATS has not been setting his lineups. ATS has been extremely inactive in this league. He doesn't look at trades. He doesn't do free agency or waivers. He barely remembers to set his lineup. We needed to get somebody who we knew was going to be reliable, and that was Rel. But regardless, this still was ATS's matchup, and ATS got absolute belt-to-ass from Magnolia. I'll scroll down a little bit. Rico Dowdle going for 37 fucking points last week. Just nail in the coffin. And finally, Burrow would get a win off of Montez in the potential Toilet Bowl. And Burrow, he's making a bit of a push all of a sudden. Do a little... And he won with Cooper Rush going for negative points. Let's go, Burrow. But yeah. So going now to week 7, you got me, ya boy, the king, taking on the top seed Saleya in Kawhi. But he ain't slaying shit this week. Let's talk about it. You got DJ against the Chargers, Bryce Young against the Jets. If Bryce Young can't cook the Jets, I will be extremely disappointed. Going up against T-Law against the Rams. Caleb Williams against the Saints is mildly disturbing. You got Josh freaking Jacobs and Christian McCaffrey. I will say, this is the first week that I'm worried about Christian McCaffrey legitimately not going for 25 or 20 plus, because the Atlanta Falcons run defense has been very crazy this season. Josh Jacobs might legitimately bury the Cardinals into the ground. Amon-Ra St. Brown against a weak Tampa secondary. I like that. Pickens against Washington. Little concerned because I think CeeDee's either coming back this week or next week, and I know his production's going to drop a bit. Kincaid's on a bye, so Zach Ertz is starting, but it's against the Cowboys, so that's nice. I'm still going to start Rachaad White this week because I'm assuming Bucky isn't playing. And then Drizzy Drake London, my glorious king. The moment I trade for him, back-to-back 30 bombs. He's insane. Oh, and then I made a bit of a trade. I traded Chris Olave for Khalil Shakir and Travion Henderson. I'm looking to kind of like make like a little bit of a future investment, but I also didn't really want to downgrade wide receiver too badly. So, I traded Olave in a 1-for-2 for Khalil Shakir and Travion Henderson. We see Alvin Kamara, who is facing the Bears, so he might do pretty well realistically, but they did fuck up Bill last week. We'll see what happens. Kamani Vidal is still the starter this week, but there is absolutely a chance that Hassan Haskins gets more playtime, but after what Vidal did last week, I think we're good on that. T-Mac is probably going to kill the Jets, though Sauce Gardner is still a very good corner. So there's absolutely a shot that T-Mac is locked. Jordan Addison, oh man, the Eagles' defense has really concerned me after last week. Goddard was pretty good. Terry McLaurin is just never going to, I don't even care that they're facing Dallas. I'm never going to take him seriously until he shows me something. Xavier Worthy against the Raiders, he should do pretty good. Mahomes has been really good this season. Overall, I'm going to win this matchup. I don't see a way that I lose this matchup unless, the Falcons' run defense is extremely locked, Bryce Young pulls a Bo Nix, and, Pickens gets tanked to the ground, which, the more I think about it, the more likely this low-key is. But I'm going to give myself the win here. I'm pretty confident. Next, you got Hoops with Jay taking on Dials. And we'll start off with Jay's team. You got Drake, May, Kyler. We don't know if Kyler's going to play this week. He probably will. Well, actually, let's look. I mean, he's working with practice squad? Okay, so I think so I don't think he's playing this week. So we're going to just assume it's... Oh, he has Jacoby. Okay, so it doesn't matter. He's either starting Jacoby or Kyler. Cool. Bijan and Judkins is a great tandem, though Judkins was very unused and Stefanski really needs to get his shit together. Jettis should probably fry the Eagles. Rashee Rice is finally back, and that just put Jay's team on the map officially. Against the Raiders should be a great return. I don't know why he has George Kittle on his tight end spot. I mean, I guess he returned limited, but what? No, okay, I think he's supposed to be starting K-Dot. That's just a guess at this point. And then Kendrick Bourne, Stephon Diggs in his flex. Then we go over to Team Dials. Mahomes and JD5, amazing QBs, especially when you factor in that they're facing the Raiders and Cowboys. They could go for 90 this week, legitimately. Last week, we finally saw Javonte Williams look pretty questionable. And of all teams, it was against the Panthers. So you never like to see that if you are a Cowboys fan, but I would not be too worried. Especially since we saw DeAndre Swift absolutely put belt to ass on the Commanders' defense last week. Jordan Mason, the Eagles' run defense has been extremely questionable this season, but at the same time, I don't know how much I trust Jordan Mason at the time being. Jamar Chase and Jalen Waddle. Waddle's the wide receiver 1. The Browns' defense is very, very solid. Tua is very, very ass. He could either go for 20 or he could go for like 2. Jamar against Pittsburgh. Really kind of odd matchups for Dial's receivers. Tucker Kraft against the Cardinals. He's gonna stomp them. And he's starting Tyjae Spears? Is that actually his best option? Oh, God, Cook's out. That's why. Okay. Yeah. Based on the fact that I just saw Tyjae Spears in a starting lineup, Mason Taylor in a flex spot, and James Cook being on bye, I have to give the win to Jay here. I think Jay is going to pull out with the win with these gaping holes. Next, you got Braden taking on Adams, and this is going to be an interesting one, because you got the 4 seed, you got the 12 seed, but I'm going to put up some bullshit today. Darnold against the Texans, and Dart against the Broncos. Fuck, that's terrible, right? That's pretty bad for his quarterbacks. Saquon, my God, has he underperformed this season? I think he will be fine eventually, but it is really starting to get concerning that he's not as good of a pick as we thought he would be. J.K. Dobbins against the Giants, I expect him to do pretty solid as well. I have no reason to be confident in A.J. Brown anymore. He has shown me absolutely fucking nothing this season. Wan'Dale Robinson is still an extremely questionable wide receiver too, but I'll get over it. Tyler Warren has been a monster. That's a great one. Then you got Bill and Kenneth Walker. I have no faith in Kenneth Walker anymore. I don't have faith in Sharp either. They both suck. And then Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. Well, he's either really, really good or really, really ass. So, like, quite an interesting one. But then you also have Dak Prescott against the Commanders, Matt Stafford against the Jags. Pretty solid. Breece Hall did not look overly great last week against the Broncos. It was the Broncos, though. We did see the Panthers absolutely stuff Javonte last week, so that is reason to be concerned, especially with that Jets atrocity of an offense. Travis Etienne could be solid against the Rams. Here's where it gets pretty questionable. We don't know if CeeDee Lamb is playing. We don't know if Puka Nacua... No, we know... At this point, it's pretty safe to assume that Puka Nacua is not playing. So that would put Keenan Allen at wide receiver 2 and probably Hollywood Brown in the flex. And if CeeDee doesn't play, that would put fucking what? Hollywood Brown wide receiver 2, Keenan Allen wide receiver 1, and like Torrey Horton as like the flex. So this really rides on if CeeDee Lamb is healthy. I'm assuming that CeeDee Lamb is going to be healthy. Yeah, he logged another practice. Okay. I'm going to base this off CeeDee Lamb being healthy this week. I'm going to have Adams eke a win out. But if CeeDee Lamb is not playing this week, Adams is going to get toasted by Braden. Simple as that. Next up, you got Montez versus Magnolia. And am I seeing that projection right? Alright, cool. Sorry, Magnolia, you got Brock Purdy against the Falcons. The Falcons made Josh Allen their bitch last week, so if I'm Magnolia, starting Brock Purdy is terrifying. Especially since he's already on the hot seat for his job because of Mac Jones. Spencer Rattler against the Bears. I think he should do okay. I still don't love Rattler as a starting quarterback in a league, but whatever. Rico Dowdle, this is probably going to be his... Okay, I don't know if he's going to... Rico Dowdle's production basically depends on if Chuba Hubbard is coming back. Because Chuba Hubbard, y'all gotta remember, Rico can be as good as he wants. Chuba Hubbard was named a captain in the offseason, got paid a shit ton of money. So the Panthers are going to want to play Chuba Hubbard. Chase Brown against the Steelers, I'm not taking him seriously. Brian Thomas Jr., I don't know why he has him as trustworthy. He had 1 week over 20 points. Against the Rams, I think he could break out again. We'll see. If Mike Evans comes back, Mike Evans will be a great wide receiver too for Magnolia. Ferguson, I like. Pollard, I like. And why the fuck is Michael May? Oh, because his bench is a shit show. If DJ Moore plays, I'd probably play him over Michael goddamn Mayer. Looking over at Montez's team, you got Baker and Tua. Hate me some Tua, but I love me some Baker Mayfield. That's an MVP candidate right there. Devon Achane against the Browns. I don't love the matchup, but I love the player. Jalen Warren could break out against the Bengals, because the Bengals fucking suck. Chris Olave is now seen as the wide receiver 2 on Montez's team. That goes to show how shitty his team was when I made that trade. So you got Olave against the Bears, who is officially questionable now. See what that's up about. Limited practice with a hip injury. Not what I was expecting to see. Sorry. Sutton also kind of looked like a fraud, but to be fair, that game just was terrible in general, so I'm not going to worry about too much. Hunter Henry in a Jesus, man. Rashid Shaheed starting with Olave in the lineup. Oh my god. And then Darren Waller is questionable? Another hip injury. Oh lord. Okay. This is an interesting situation. I don't really know who I want to pick. I think I'm gonna go with Montez. I like Jalen Warren's matchup. I like Achane as a player more than pretty much Magnolia's entire roster. And I like Baker Mayfield more than a lot of his roster too. So I am going to pick Montez for this. Next, you got formerly ATS, but now our boy Rel taking on Burrow. Bit of a cupcake for Rel's first matchup. And I think Rel made a couple of moves to make this team a little bit better. Surprised I haven't seen it yet. Is that the next matchup? We'll see. I genuinely don't remember, but I know he traded somebody. So as we can see here, Jared Goff, CJ Stroud for Burrow. Goff for fantasy is very questionable. CJ Stroud is like, is he getting sacked 12 times this week? Kyron should play well. Cam Scatterbo, this is the first time I'm going to worry about Scatterbo. The Broncos defense is fucking insane, and that's a little concern. Actually, that's a lot a bit concerning for the New York Giants. Go over to wide receivers. You see Marv against the Packers. You never want to see that. Devonta Smith against the Vikings. I mean, He hasn't been good in general. The Eagles receivers make me mad. Chigakonkwo, Keyshawn Booty, Alec Iomanner, And then that. Go over to Rel's team. You see Jalen Hurts, Aaron Rodgers. I like the Rodgers matchup. I like Jalen Hurts as a fantasy asset. David Montgomery, DeAndre Swift pisses me off a little bit low-key, but it's whatever. Nico Collins and DK Metcalf at wide receiver. I love the Rodgers DK stack for this week against Cincy. David Njoku, if he plays, that's solid, but Fannin is coming for that job. Michael Pittman, Deebo Samuel, flex. He also has Matthew Golden, who I don't know if he's going to start. He also has Ricky Pearsall. He has good receivers, so he should try to ship one out for a running back, but we'll see. I am going to give the win to Rel here. I have absolutely no faith in Burrow's team, on paper at least. I don't know how he's 3-3 at this point in time. He actually benched Pacheco finally, so see how that works out. I'm going to give the win to Rel. And finally, you got Cam taking on Minus. Okay, Jordan Love against the Cardinals. Jordan Love might bury them to shreds. Justin Fields, I don't have faith in. I don't have faith in anymore because He makes me mad because, you see, in the 3 full games he played before that, 32, 29, 30. And then 5 last week. Against the Broncos, granted, but the Jets give me no confidence. This offense looked atrocious, and Fields had a net negative 10 passing yards. Fuck that. Jahmyr Gibbs and Jonathan Taylor, still one of the best running back rooms in the league. I hate the fact that Ladd McConkey is still this guy's wide receiver 1. That needs to be fixed. Devontae Adams should do pretty decent this week. Starting Jameson Williams should be a fucking war crime at this point. Sam Laporta is a solid tight end. Rome Odunze is a great flex and should be where Ladd McConkey is right now, but I won't get into that. Then going to look at Cam's team, Herbert against Indy. Jacoby Brissett put up 27 points on him. Bo Nix against the Giants. I don't have much faith in Bo Nix either, but we'll see. Ashton Jeanty has been pretty solid recently. Chuba Hubbard looks like his job is getting cut in half by Rico Dowdle. JSN is a great fucking receiver, which is exactly why I hate to say this, but I think this is going to be his first bad week. Going up against Derek Stingley, I would presume they'd want to put the 1-on-1, so that's going to be a fucking hard matchup, but JSN has been very solid. Christian Kirk at your wide receiver 2 should be fucking alarming, though. I don't think he's going to do good. In fact, I think he's going to get fried. Trey McBride against the Packers, Jacoby Myers should be pretty decent. Troy Franklin, whatever. I feel bad for Cam, because poor freaking Emeka Egbuka got hurt, and that just sucks, low-key. But yeah, I'd have to say that, Minus is gonna win this week. I don't have faith in, most of this guy's team. So now we're gonna go to the league real quick, because I need to show y'all the trades that have happened since the last video. I don't remember how many of these there were. So we had Devonta Smith, Alec Iomanor, and Cam Ward go for Mike Evans. This was a terrible trade for Burrow. I don't know why he traded Burrow for shit, or traded Mike Evans for literal shit, but okay. Jake Bates for the Buffalo Bills defense, that doesn't matter. Isaiah Pacheco for Cooper Rush. I think this is literally a fucking return trade. This was my trade of trading Olave for Shakir and Travion Henderson. Rel traded Zay Flowers for Hawkinson and Matthew Golden for some fucking reason. And Jay traded Ricky Pearsall and Nico Collins for Justin Jefferson. And that's going to do it for this review. If y'all enjoyed, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, do all that good shit, and have a great day, y'all.